why a partial hair system might be for you. Let's talk about this together. So welcome back to the channel, guys. Quite excited because I had one of my new systems arrive the other day. It's one I haven't tried before. It's called a Kios, which is how it's pronounced in Greek. The name Kios is an ancient Greek name. It translates to intelligence. So I'm going to be wearing an intelligent system. It's a 0.08mm poly. I expect to get about sort of 3 to 4 months out of it. It's slightly denser than the one I've got now. This one is the Louis see-through. It's an ultra thin skin, but it's over 3 months old now. It's right at the end of its lifespan, so it's time to change. Given that it is going to be a bit denser, I will probably be going for a slightly longer look. I've gone short for a long time, so it might be slightly longer, just sort of balance out that added density. But let's see. So let's talk partials, something I didn't even know existed until a couple of years ago. I certainly didn't know these things existed before I started wearing systems. It's only something that I came across through various vendors when I was sort of working my way through systems and learning about hair systems. And I really, really wish that I'd have known about partials right at the beginning of my journey, because I think I would have started with partials had I known. So I might be helping you out a little bit here. If you've got a little bit of recession or a moderate amount of recession at the front of your scalp or at the crown, a partial is probably more suitable for you. And if you watched last week's video, you'll know that I'm certainly very, very not keen on medications that are used for hair loss because of the side effects and the fact that some really severe side effects coming out now. These kind of medications were used by people who had moderate or mild hair loss. You know, these medications wouldn't work if you had a full sort of, if the whole top of your scalp was bald, this wouldn't work. So this is why I think toppers are a much better alternative, a much safer solution, which will be better for you long term. So for me, when I first started using systems, I had sort of balding patches on various bits of my head. Mainly on the top, because that's where I used to pull my hair out from trichotillomania. And I was at the time as well getting some very, very mild male pattern baldness, which over the last 5 years has progressed quite significantly. Had I known about partials at the time, I could have got 1 or 2 partials on my head, and then I could have just let the rest of my hair that was already there, I could have just allowed that to sort of, you know, keep growing naturally. And it would have been cheaper for me earlier in my hair system wearing journey. So definitely this is something worth considering, guys, if you are, as I said, moderate or mild hair loss. The great thing is you can get them in stocks, or you can get them custom. Obviously custom, you would have to wait a bit longer, but you could be a bit more specific with what you want. Whereas with a stock, you know, you get something and then you can just cut the base and you can basically mold that base to where the bald bit is. It's usually, for guys who start losing their hair, it's usually the hair starts going at the temples. But from what I've seen on YouTube and on the internet, it can make a really, really positive difference for people who are struggling with the early stages of hair loss and they want the transition from hair loss to hair system to be as seamless as possible. There's actually a guy on YouTube called Stick on Hair, that's the name of his YouTube handle, and he actually has a hairline which is completely receded up until about there, and then behind it, it's just sort of like natural. He's got his own sort of natural bio hair. So, you know, for him, a partial is absolutely perfect. But what he does is quite clever. He will actually buy a hair system base, like a normal hair system base, and cut it into 3 pieces, so it will last him longer. So again, that's another option for you guys if you're looking at saving some money. It might be a good idea to just start with a partial first up, just to see how you get on with it. And then if you get on well with it, maybe just buy a full hair system for the top of the head and just cut it into 3, and you can just mold it That could work as well. If you've got balding at the crown, that could also work. Just cut it into 3 pieces and it will last, a good amount of time. As I said before, it doesn't need to be custom made either. You can just use a stock system or a stock partial. And, I always wear stocks. I think I've worn 1 custom in the last 5 years, maybe 2. But other than that, I just prefer stocks. When I need a new system, I want one now. And the same is applicable for a partial system. So I think it's something that could be a real game changer for people early in their journey. I'd recommend watching Stick On Hair because his channel is really good. And obviously he is at that stage of hair loss whereby he's only got what I would say a moderate amount of hair loss, which is just at the front of his head. A few things to consider which I think are important though. You want to make sure that you have the right colour, so a colour which is well matched to your natural hair colour. So to give you an example, I am, I'd say a sort of light brown colour. That's my natural hair colour. So I usually go for like a 7. This is a 7. The perfect match for me, or as perfect as it gets, is the 7 Ash. And the new hair system that I'm going to be wearing next time, the Kios, is 7 Ash. So you want to make sure that you've got as close a match as possible to the hair that you've naturally got. So that's an important consideration. And the second important consideration is you want to be making sure that the density is right as well. You want to have a good idea of how thick your bio hair that's left on the top of your head is, because you want that to match it pretty well. If you go to a decent hair system stylist or just a normal stylist, they might be able to thin it out for you if it is too thick, but you want to be getting as close to the natural thickness of your bio hair. So those are 2 really important things that I want you to think about if you're at that stage of hair loss, and a partial would probably be more suitable for you. And lastly, where to get these things. So pretty much most hair system vendors that I have seen online do offer partials, or they're otherwise called hair patches. Basically, it's exactly the same thing. LaVivid do it. You can benefit from a 15% discount if you use the code Adam15. So that's worth considering if you want to save a little bit of money. It works on partials. It works on normal hair systems. It doesn't work on customs, but it works on all stocks and supplies. So like glues, tapes, and stuff. So that is definitely worth considering. But I'd like to hear from you guys. Have you guys found this video helpful? Had you heard of partials? Have you heard of partials before? Had you used a partial before? Have you considered using a partial before? Do you think it might be something that's suitable for your stage of hair loss? I would absolutely 100% say that if you're in the early to middle stages of hair loss, please consider a partial. I think number 1, it would save you money. Number 2, you wouldn't have to keep shaving all of your bio hair on the top that's still left. That might still be quite thick for you. And if it is, that means you're going to have to be removing, cleaning, rebonding a full system way more than someone like me who's had, by now, quite a bit of male pattern baldness and, a lot of trichotillomania. So that is really worth considering. Please don't forget to like the video if you found it helpful, guys. It helped me in the YouTube algorithm. More people find this channel. More people find this free content about hair systems. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you're new to the channel, if you're thinking about getting a hair system, why not subscribe? Join the tribe. Doesn't mean you have to buy a hair system. Just means you're building your information about hair systems. It will help you build your knowledge and expertise to help you make a balanced decision as to whether a hair system is suitable for you right now. Or maybe it's not, or maybe it never will be, who knows. But if you subscribe, at least you'll be getting regular information to help build that expertise that you'll have about hair systems to make the right choice for you. I'll speak to you very soon, guys. Bye for now.